Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Rod Berger, and it's my distinct pleasure and honor to welcome you to Quantum Leap. This is our inaugural event, virtual, and as you can see on your screen, we're going to have an in-person in Atlanta, February 23rd and 24th, so that is fast approaching, and excited to have some incredible conversations today about an ever-changing landscape with AI in higher education. I want to introduce the CEO and founder of End-to-End and LightLeapAI, Kiran Kodithala. Kiran, welcome. This is going to be a fantastic event with all kinds of people from across the country. Many have woken up quite early to be participating in this, and we're very thankful for that, Kiran.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking your time to join our event. It is inaugural in any special way because End-to-End has turned 15 this year. I started End-to-End in 2010 with a singular mission of connecting anything to anything. That was the idea about genesis of End-to-End. A lot of people ask me, what does N number two N stand for? And I'm like, it's exactly what it stands for. It's end-to-end connectivity. And as a result of this, we launched LightLeap AI a couple of years ago, actually last year, and since then it has been truly a quantum leap for the company itself. And this is a celebration of a lot of it, a celebration of our product development efforts, a celebration of our customer stories, and celebration of some of the outcomes that we are achieving on a daily basis for our customers. So it's definitely not just about me or my or our team, but really about our customers and the outcomes we are generating from them. We are extremely excited about what you're about to see today, but we are most excited about our ending finale that we have around 11 o'clock, where, yeah, 11 o'clock, yeah, around 1 o'clock, sorry, where we are announcing three main awards. One award is for the best outcome agent that you've seen, because we're going to present to you five outcome-based agents that are transforming higher education. One is to resolve fraud, one is to identify insights from the documents, and a couple other things as well. And as part of this tour, I would like for you to think about which outcomes are most important to you and how you want to achieve them. And we'll have a poll at the end of it. And in this poll, we'll also allow you to pick your crowd favorite for your favorite speaker, customer advocate that you heard from, and get a chance to present why as well. And just as importantly, you'll have a chance to enter a raffle with an option to fly to Rome, Paris, or Venice. You pick one of the destinations, and we'll send you up to $3,000 or more based on the destination. So I'm super excited about the conversation, and this is really a celebration of us, a celebration of all the outcomes we are helping to achieve by collaborating with truly innovative leaders like you're about to see. Rod, back to you.
Thank you so much, Karen. And I want to thank also everybody behind the scenes that has been putting this together, to include our partners and collaborators that have participated in a number of discussions. Rohan, if we can go ahead and throw up the QR codes so everybody has an understanding of how they're going to interact with those today. So as we go through the process, you'll be able to tie into both lightleapai.com and College Buys as well. You know what, Karen, as we were talking about setting this entire quantum leap up, we made the decision that we should start this off with a bang and a really deep discussion. And so we want to bring into the screen Laura Ipsen. She's the president and CEO of Ellucian, and have a conversation, a fireside chat, if you will, this morning here and with our quantum leap. So Rohan, let's go ahead and get everybody up on screen and welcome Laura. Well, as many of you who know me and the work that I do, I love diving in deep into conversations with people, not just about their expertise, but about the stories, the origin stories that brought them to us in their present state, and the offerings and solutions that are helping to move all of us in different areas of our lives. And number one in that is education, and that's probably the parent hat that I have on as I say this to you. But I want to welcome into the conversation Kiran Kodithala. He's the CEO of End-to-End and LightLeapAI, and Laura Ipsen. She's a president and CEO of Ellucian. Look, I will tell you, I'm like a kid in a candy store, because I know the two of you are working day after day trying to understand a world that is ever changing in education, especially when we're we're injecting AI and we're injecting sort of new opportunities and solutions to challenges that are they're pivoting, they're evolving over time and quite rapidly. Laura, in doing some prep work on you, I loved your background and what you talked about and the move from Silicon Valley to Virginia. And sort of in essence, you talked about your family and the big
Yeah.
move to do that. Can you talk a little bit about your background and what was it in 2017 that said to you, this is the right off ramp for me, or on ramp, depending upon how you saw it based on what you were doing, that positioned you and Ellucian to where you are today?
Sure. Well, I started on the East Coast after I graduated and in Washington, and I was lured by Silicon Valley because I thought, hey, this is more of a meritocracy. I was in doing government affairs work in DC, and it seemed like a little bit of a stagnant place for me. I'm a creative person. I like taking risks, so I packed a duffel bag, moved out to Silicon Valley, and through the course of those years. I was at Cisco for many years with a great leader, John Chambers, who was my mentor. Then Microsoft, Oracle, a few others. I've been in everything but semiconductors. I've been in mainframes. So what inspired me to come back is, I learned for over 25 years the power of innovation, how that shaped my career, my journey, my life. And when the opportunity came up to run Ellucian, it was a bit of a homecoming for me. A fun fact is both of my parents worked in higher education. I had faculty and administration. So my dad was a professor, ran an art department at a university in Virginia, Virginia Commonwealth. My mother raised five kids. I'm an underachiever. She got her master's and PhD when she was 57. So it was a homecoming for me. Education had always been a big part of my life, working for someone like John Chambers, passionate about education. It was a thread that ran through my whole career, but it was never the key focal point. And in a time of transformation, it just made sense. Hard to take my kids out of their schools, but they've done really well since. And so that got me back in here to say, higher education is due for transformation. It's not just about cloud and SaaS and what we do with great companies like end to end, but it's powering up insights in new ways. So I'm just very passionate about that intersection. Never think you're going to become your parents, but higher education and ed tech coming together, I think it was just meant to be, quite frankly.
And so, Kieran, I would imagine you have some reactions to what Laura's talking about. Look, I've known you now for over a decade, and I've seen you continue to work and work and work. And I know how important partnerships have been throughout your process. Tell me about your origin story and what education meant to you growing up, and how that now parlays into the work that you're doing with End to End and LightLeap AI.
Well, first of all, I think having Laura here on the call I feel like it's a tremendous honor just to be able to hear her life story. My life story is probably a little bit more humble. Actually, started my work in the United States, working at University of Illinois. Came to my master's here to do, and the day I stepped on campus, I got a full tuition waiver for campus and teaching assistantship and research assistantship straight coming from India. And one thing I learned as part of that effort exercise is that, this is a country where you can just come in and on day one you get full tuition waiver with no questions asked, and forever changed me. And my immersion into IT was frankly, probably before Laura doesn't even know it. I'm sure she does with SCT Banner 2.0 when
I
University of
do know
Illinois
it.
was yeah, university was implementing it in 1998 and their IT department. So since then, I've been a big fan of SCT that became SunGard and now Ellucian because this is a platform that helps students do everything from registering for courses, get their financial aid, and obviously become a champion of the college when we become alumni. So for us, Ellucian relationship is very important because we serve majority of our customers are Ellucian colleague, Power Campus, or Banner customers.
Well,
Now,
and
I'm gonna.
Kieran is too humble because your story is inspiring. Your story is about what Silicon Valley's made of. Is anyone can do and be anything. It takes leadership. It takes knowledge. It takes rolling up your sleeves and doing a lot of hard work. And as a founder, you've done amazing things with your company, and that's what led to, I think, the strong partnership that we have too.
Yeah, I love that story. Especially, I just have so many images of Kieran and just the doggedness, right, of just continuing to pursue and pursue. So I think that that's a wonderful message. I want to take advantage, Laura, of your background, and I know that you're the chair of the Business Higher Education Forum, and that gives you what I would estimate as a unique vantage point. And I think that that's something that a lot of people are looking for to try to understand how to separate the noise from the signal. And I'm curious as to what major shifts that you're seeing now in higher education, and how can we better position ourselves to be prepared so that we can be proactive as opposed to reactive.
Well, and Business Higher Education Forum is a .org. It's a business association that brings business and higher education leaders together. And I'm excited that Kieran's going to join that. This is a very powerful time because it's really shaping the opportunities we have to transform workforce, to use government grants, to use innovative models to transform communities, understanding what works in different states and around the world. So we are a community that brings those two parties together. When historically you say that business and higher education, we don't tend to be on the same wavelength. We just, higher education expects that the students are graduating and lifelong learners are going to land in business, and we've found a delta. So this is a really important time for that organization. We're meeting in the next two days at Georgia Tech. But what's happening right now? It's not business as usual. We see massive transformation in workforce and higher education, and a good part of that's going to be AI. You see AI kind of taking out some jobs, replacing new ones. We're just at the beginning. If you look at what the World Economic Forum shows, 1.1 billion jobs are going to be transformed in the next decade. And 63% of us as employers say that those skills gaps are the biggest issue. So when I look at transformation and workforce, this is a massive tectonic plates changing all over the place around the world. And we have an opportunity as we develop a platform for students to have learning pathways to understand the difference between when you need a degree, a credential, micro-credential, certification. So learning absolutely has to change. It's not a moment in time, it's lifelong. It has to be more personalized. You need to understand, how do different students learn, tied to outcomes. So everything that we're doing and building across our student systems are to connect the dots, to accelerate that. And using AI is just powering up. So we as employers, we as educators with higher education and beyond lifelong learning, it's the most important thing for us to drive home now, is to help accelerate the success of every learner, of everyone thinking about education, to bring them back for reskilling, because the world is going to change dramatically, not just in years, but in the next 6 to 12 months. We're seeing it already.
And I'm just curious because I think the layperson thinks about higher education, Laura, and they think there's a very long runway. We're on tradition. Things just, it's a time is a different element than it is sort of amongst our daily lives. But yet you're talking about the pace, right? And this transformation that is accelerated greatly, and talking about the implication on the workforce. What role do I think providers play in educating both sides of a public-private partnership so everyone understands that we're ready and prepared to work at the pace that's required?
Well, I think it's having dialogues that we're having right now to understand what that pace looks like, what employers really need versus like, hey, you get someone coming in that's not trained up on AI. Every resume that we're looking at now, some of them are, lots of them are screened by AI too, by the way. But foundationally, we all need to have AI skill sets. My entire company, every employee has foundational skill sets. And we're at a point for higher education to understand they need to do that too. Lots of the talk about artificial intelligence is about productivity. But if you're not focused on transformation, if you're not focused on not just the what, but why are we doing this? What are we transforming to? We're going to miss it. And higher education has a very important role to play, understanding that it's embracing all learners, not just traditional learners. Most people around the world don't have a degree, a 2 or a 4 year, right? So this is about, how do we learn in new ways to bring both parties together, business and higher education. And that's where things that, that end to end does in terms of integrating and having all that data gives us insights around, what do learners need? How do we make sure that we engage them the right ways? If they're dropping out, how do we become more predictive? So data and content is probably one of the most powerful things for us to focus on right now, to bring the sides together, for us to collaborate in new ways to truly transform higher education, to benefit better outcomes for students and for the economies in which we live and work.
Karen, I want to tag you into this conversation regarding sort of the origin of LightLeap AI and what you were hearing from customer organizations and universities and community college systems, and when AI sort of came into the calculus of the way in which you wanted to move the company forward.
Yeah, so the origin of LightLeap AI was really based on my own foundation. When I started, I talked about 1998. I worked working with the University of Illinois, and after that, about 12 years, I implemented banner system at many campuses. And during that process, we realized that we need to integrate with parking system, housing system, ID card system, and that led me to launch end-to-end 15 years ago. And that was our focus was integration services, and we called it connect anything to anything. In 2016, we moved a lot of those adapters or connectors into API model, which is Illuminate, which is an integration platform as a service that now serves over 500 colleges worldwide. However, Lightleap was a unique opportunity where we realized that we have this asset which allows us to connect to different databases, ERPs, and CRM systems, but we needed to convert this data into actionable intelligence. Just like Laura is describing, how do I make sure that instead of just showing the list of courses available, show the courses that a student is most suited to succeed to help them with their career progression? And how do I make sure that instead of just showing some information related to their coursework or registration or billing or financial aid, make it so customizable and personalized so that students get the information they need, not only to complete the journey or complete the task, but also become better students, better potential employees, and hopefully better entrepreneurs as well. So AI is this unique opportunity where for the first time in human experience, we can connect World Wide Web, student information system, learning management system, financial aid system, and make it all plugged together using Lightleap AI to give an information specifically a student. And I think that's why, like Laura is talking about, insights is what we are trying to move from. We are moving from data to information to insights, but really, just like Laura said, actionable insights. What
Yeah.
outcomes are we helping students achieve? And AI is specifically designed to do that. Laura, do you agree?
No, I more than agree. And Kieran, what you do is really around the integration of everything, all the data, all the insights, so that we can act on it, but not just act on it, but with AI, we can become predictive, not just for an institution, not just for faculty or administration, but specific to student outcomes and better success. Students of all ages, lifelong learners. So it's not just the pathway that you're on, but it's the pathway you could be on. And what's important in this changing nature of jobs when we look at skills to jobs, that's one of the innovations that we built that Kieran will be familiar with is Ellucian Journey. Journey uses AI. It's our most powerful innovation out of our innovation hub that uses AI to go across all the course curriculum, builds a skills ontology, illuminates the pathway for a student who may say, I'm going to be an anthropology major, but what are the jobs that I'm going to get when I graduate? Understanding what courses to take to amplify that degree and the skill sets that are very precise. We can do that for traditional learners, but more importantly, right now is reskilling the workforce. That's changing so quickly. We see federal workers near where I am being displaced. How do we reskill veterans, government workers, others who are mid career who haven't thought about higher education in decades? That's very powerful at this time because we see the big shift in what is going to be required for the future, getting prepared, and everyone can participate. So, integration of everything, having that data, being specific around the actions, leading to outcomes, and then more predictive. That's where AI is going to take us. And that's where AI, if you're a game changer in higher education, you're already down that path. You're first of all moving to SaaS and looking at all the integrations and getting your data house in order to get there.
And Laura, I would tell me if I'm far afield on this, but I would think that one of the major elements that both you and Kieran have to, I guess, tackle would be cultural resistance to the change. And I'm curious as to the advice that you might give higher ed leaders that are looking to embark on the transformation, but yet there are a lot of, I guess, roadblocks in front of them that they're trying to navigate and also provide a value proposition that is concurrent with what's needing to be done while also, I guess, honoring the value props of yesterday.
Yeah, well, I'll start early because I knew when it came to Ellucian that things had to change. That was what my private equity owner said at the time. We need to change. And I'll tell you, when I got there and I said, cloud first, people first, customer first, when it came to cloud, I had leaders deep in my product organization, not my head of product today, who was deep in the organization and became my number one product leader, Mike Wolf, but I had leaders saying, why cloud? Why now? Well, I saw the world changing through what we did at Microsoft and Oracle and the move to cloud. There was then just single digits according to Andy Jassy of the world's workflow. This was 10 years that were in cloud, but it's going to. It's not if, but when. But in any transformation, whether it's cloud or anything else, you have to ask, what are we changing? Why are we changing? And what is it and how are we going to do it? And then for employees, when you get resistance, it's really fear. What is it going to mean for me? You got to drive it down to what is it going to mean for me and what are the expectations of how I work today and what I address in the future. So addressing cultural resistance early, having open conversations, making sure you have education, you think about change management. As many of the institutions we serve, and hundreds have already moved to SaaS, we have over 2,000 that have something in SaaS. The most important thing is to make sure that you have the change management and drill it down to the individual. What is it going to mean for teams, but you as someone who can contribute to the change? And that's where you change resistance to excitement. It doesn't happen overnight, but you have to be intentional. So for higher education, number one, they have to get moving. They have to understand what they're changing and why, and what does it mean for the traditional roles across higher education, and what are the outcomes and value that people can get excited about? Because no one wants to do a lot of work and not say, is this going to be better? How does AI make us more human in this transformation as higher education is being forced to change? And actually, I see a lot of positive momentum out there too.
And one thing that I always look for, Laura, is when people's questions change over time. I always see that that's an indicator that we're sort of building that knowledge base. And I'm curious, when you've been talking to higher ed leaders that are customers of Ellucian and those that may are not, but you know them professionally, have you noticed that there's a change, there's a growth to the questions that they're asking you, whether it's about capabilities and or forecasts that you are either making or they'd like you to make?
Yeah, and the big transformation for us is certainly higher education must move from on-prem to software as a service. That's where data comes alive. In talking with one institution in California who talked about, the value of AI and had a squishy brain to showcase what that meant. The brain's going to be this golden thing and all the data is going to come together. I said, you cannot do that when you're on-prem. You have to be in SaaS to bring that alive. So I think they're realizing it. They're not asking why. Why do we have to this transformation? It's not just about going to SaaS, but it's about using data, powering up data, building, having all those integrations come to life from the past to the future. They're not asking why, they're asking when and how quickly. And a lot of what I see in higher education is AI is another forcing function, a wave of how everyone in the world has to adapt. And I see a lot of bright spots from those conversations. It's happening with boards of trustees and leaders. It's the number one conversation that I have with presidents and chancellors. They get it. Their students now are AI natives. They
Right.
have to be ahead of the game if they're going to be best in class moving forward.
Karen, have you seen
Yeah.
that? I know that I've had the privilege of interviewing and talking to a number of folks that are working with end-to-end and LightLeap over the last 10 days. And what I gather from them and sort of the energy they're giving is that there's this real proactivity about them and the energy, right? It does not
Right.
feel as if it was 5 years ago speaking to a leader in education where, status quo, that's not a bad thing, right? To maintain some level of calm. I gathered that they were almost like explorers and they were excited about it. It was not scary to them. Am I reading that correctly in the partners that you're working with?
Yeah, definitely. I see that with chancellors and presidents in colleges. I mean, just like Laura can probably attest to this, just a couple of years ago, we were selling more to CIOs and CTOs, but AI is now a topic for chancellors, presidents, and vice presidents and vice chancellors that never made technical decisions because now they see that it can be the answer, or it is the answer for moving their institution forward. But actually, it goes beyond that. I almost feel like um, there is some resistance to AI, just like Laura is describing. But instead of people thinking about what will AI do to them, the leaders are or most people should think about what do you want AI to do for you. So the big difference is, if you're thinking of you working at an automobile industry in Ford 1950, and if you're worried that, oh, all this assembly plant is going to come in and take over all our jobs, that's going to happen anyway. But what they did not realize is that it creates a era of innovation where we can have millions of more cars on the road, and that will create its own economy itself. So what Laura is recommending is exactly right. We need to think about how AI can take their institution forward, how AI can accelerate their students' journey, how AI can increase the enrollment itself. And one of the great examples that Laura talked about with respect to SaaS is absolutely critical, because one of the biggest issues AI has is if your data is stuck in a cabinet somewhere, or a closet somewhere, or in other words, on premise somewhere where you're running your own databases or stuff like that. But with SaaS journey that Ellucian is running through, this allows us to make sure that we can connect to Ellucian platform or any other platform using APIs like Ethos, business process APIs, or Insight and others. And those APIs will allow us to achieve whatever outcomes they want, whether it is eliminating fraud, which is something I'm pretty sure we are super excited to talk about, or also allowing us to achieve outcomes like reducing dropout rates, increasing resource efficiencies, and others. But it requires institutions to start thinking about the infrastructure is no longer a technology problem, but really a strategic solution for moving them from, we'll call it 1900s to 2020s.
I don't
Laura,
want
do
to
you
feel like
agree?
we're stuck in the 1900s, but definitely, definitely, Kieran, and we see, there are leaders out there, but moving from, kind of heavy, feeling like it's the railroad approach to fully autonomous, as we see vehicles moving autonomous. So whether it's registration, financial aid, degree planning, automating that, and the big thing about AI is like, oh, it's going to replace humans. No, it's going to amplify and support what we do and make us more human. I don't know of one role across higher education that people don't say we should spend more human time together, more time face to face with students, even though we know lots of students, including my college age kids, don't necessarily want to get career advice from someone decades older. They want it on their phone. So the experiences are going to be new, and AI will power that. The one thing, though, I would say that higher education needs to do, like most of us, is make sure that you get your data in order. I think that's something that end-to-end helps with. If you don't know how your data is organized, clean data, you won't be able to embrace AI the right ways. It's like garbage in, garbage out. So getting your data house in order is really important as you start this journey. That's one of the fundamentals. Having a governance, having a construct of how you manage AI, how you measure the impact of the investments that you make, what applications have AI. There's also a lot of concern about the policy and regulatory issues, because now, unfortunately, we're going to see AI policies and regulations balkanized across states. Texas is a first mover, et cetera. So getting clarity on the policy and regulations, the data issues are very important, from privacy and use cases. Those are critical to get right as we move forward for FERPA and other reasons here in the United States.
And I'll let you out of here on this, Laura. I'm
Yeah.
curious as to I'll use the quantum leap here, pun intended here, that you see in the future. But I'd love to get your thoughts on the direct collaboration that you have with End-to-End and LightLeap AI on the fraud elimination, because we're just seeing, even in the popular press, I'm seeing more and more conversations about that. Could you speak to that and its role in serving as a quantum leap forward in how we want to help to support our colleges and universities across the country?
Well, first of all, I think of quantum leap in higher ed is when knowledge meets momentum. We have the momentum. We need more knowledge. We need more insights around how we use these new tools like AI. AI is dangerous in some ways when you think about how is that going to be used in negative ways, pushing the boundaries of cybersecurity and hacking. But AI will be more of a benefit to conquer those issues as well. AI, we have solutions that are built into our student capabilities that will support detection of fraud, including capabilities like Journey. And as we look to the future to power up the workforce with short-term Pell coming into play here in the United States, we need to use those AI capabilities to support students getting resources to reskill themselves, and also making sure that we use capabilities to detect fraud, to protect the resources. I think whether it's at a state or federal level, there's more that we can do using those tools to ferret out fraud. And those are very key issues across the country, in particular in California. Those are things that we talk about with the work that we're doing with the community college system, their Common Cloud Data project that is going to power up a lot of student success moving forward.
Well, Laura, Kiran, I really enjoyed this conversation. I'm sure we could have continued the conversation for quite some time, but I want to allow you guys to do the work that's making a difference. And I love that knowledge meets momentum. Thanks so much, Laura and Kiran.
Thank you. And
Thank,
thanks to Kiran. And we're just so proud of the partnership and all that you do. Let's go and let's move faster together.
thanks, Laura. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Higher education's history has been built, in large part, on the understanding that what we've learned across decades of research and teaching and learning applies to the challenges of today and tomorrow. What if the script has changed? What if tomorrow suddenly becomes today? What if our former answers were converted to the questions of today? What if the foundation of our assumptions shifted, migrated, or even evaporated from view? What if our algorithms revealed more questions than answers? What if what we knew then requires a new approach to embrace today and tomorrow? Where would we turn? Who could we trust? The answer lies in the story of those meeting the moment, those embracing the vibrant horizon line of AI to scope and scale solutions that meet the moment. End-to-End has been serving higher education behind the scenes in the dark corners of support for over 15 years across 507 clients and institutions, harnessing technology neighbors and providers, maximizing utilization and impact. We too see the emerging light of AI, and like you, we choose to embrace the opportunity, actively leaping towards the light of innovation to bring you and your campuses onto the horizon line of tomorrow, today. Our DNA remains coded as end-to-end, but today requires active exploration, converting the unknown into best practice. Yesterday's end-to-end has become today, and tomorrow's LightLeapAI. I really love, Laura, that concept when we talk about quantum leap, right? That's when knowledge meets momentum. I hope everybody enjoyed that conversation. We value your time, Laura, and partnership with Ellucian. All right, let's now turn to our first outcome-based agent and talk about a data foundation entitled Atlas. We named Atlas, and I want to bring Amal to the screen. Amal, if you could talk to us about integrated data and actionable outcomes, that would be wonderful.
Thank you, Rod. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to talk to you about our product Atlas and how it can help you in your AI ML journey. Institutions are sitting on a ton of valuable data, but that data resides in disparate systems. It is in different formats. Your old historical data might be in a legacy format, but your new current data might be in a different format. And not to mention, we have so many external sources available to us to give additional data, your social media platforms and such. Some of this data could also be unstructured, scanned images, scanned documents, PDF, Word document, you name it. And it's very hard to synthesize all that information, analyze that data, and draw insights from it. It's like data is everywhere, but yet nowhere. Even with all of this data, we cannot identify a student who's about to drop out. even though historically we know what the characteristics of a struggling student are. We cannot create successful fundraising campaigns that deliver the right message at the right time to the right audience. Why is this? Why are we starving for insights when we have so much data? Well, it's the size of the data, also the data format issues that I mentioned earlier. And on top of that, your data could be noisy. And it's very hard to find patterns that are generalized and repeatable. Those are the patterns that are good at predicting future, but not, it's very hard to find those patterns. Does this mean that having too much data is just garbage? And if we put garbage in, we're only going to get garbage out? Our answer is no. With Atlas, we can overcome all of these challenges. So how do we actually do it? How do we reduce noise? Well, it's the same way your noise canceling headphones cancels out the noise. It's the Fourier transform. Atlas can create solid statistical profiles of your time series data, do drift analysis on it, find spectral characteristics of your data, and really discover hidden features that we can use. So Sai Gupta is going to show us a demo as to how Atlas works and how it can really identify fewer columns from many columns of data. Take it over.
Uh, Thanks, Amal, for that. Yeah, so this is the data which we take from the zoo. So you hear the sound from lion roaring, monkeys screaming, screechings, and people talking, and foot carts rolling. Total chaos, right? But somewhere in the noise, an opera song is performing. This is your like our data, loud, confusing, and full of junk. Most people give up and say, junk in, junk out. So now imagine focusing on your ears. Slowly you start to hear the singer's melody. That noise is still there, but you have found something meaningful inside it. That's the first step towards turning junk into insight. So every animal, lions, parrots, elephants, has its own sound. Just like that, every piece of information tells its own story. The key is not to silence the noise, but to understand how they all fit together. Like finding harmony in the zoo orchestra. And then finally, the chaos becomes music. The same zoo sounds, but now we can clearly hear the opera. That's what happens when we learn to listen differently. We don't just throw away the messy data, we find meaningful inside it. We're completely changing AI was saying that Jenkins, Jenk out to Jenkins insights out. Uh, Here is a quick 10 seconds demo. So I take 2 terabytes of data with the 3.6 million records and 471 columns. So here my music is, I know whether it's gonna be stored and retained or not, but it's very hard for a human being to see what is the 471 columns means and what it was saying. So we process to Atlas and we come to know that this 10 columns are the music for this problem, and we can use this to retain whether it's gonna be student retained or not. Yeah, over to you, Amar.
Thank you, Sai Gupta. So what's next? Atlas can really create a data ontology layer for your institutions that's specific to your domain, that's specific to your institutional data. Ontology layer is nothing but the semantic foundation, and AI and ML models work better, they can reason better when you have a solid semantic foundation for your data. And on top of this ontology layer, we can create outcome-based agents. Outcome-based agents as a service is a recent phenomenon that's taking over the AI industry, and end-to-end and Atlas are really on forefront of that. We can create outcome-based agents to help us with student success. For example, I want to improve my student retention by 10%. That could be an outcome that an agent can help you achieve. These agents can also help you with complex resource optimization problems, faculty assignments, budget planning, And also difficult questions like which academic programs should I phase out, which academic programs should I sustain, which academic programs should be introduced. Atlas is really the core of many of our products that you are about to see. Our Prism, Polaris, Orion products, they all use Atlas as the framework. So really looking forward to those products and their overview with you guys. Back to you, Rod.
Thank you, Amal and Sai Gupta. I appreciate that. I'm learning. I'm learning as everybody else is as well. So I'd love to see that. Thank you so much for that foundational piece. All right. So earlier this week, I had a chance to speak with Dr. Lee Lambert, the Chancellor and CEO of Foothill Downs, a community college district, and I wanted to share just a clip of what we talked about because I think it's vital to the discussion that we're having this morning as part of Quantum Leap.
Pre-Gen AI, let me frame it that way. We were already strengthening and aligning what we did with our private partners. So starting to talk more of that language, if you will, business started to become a variable in the equation. And it's like you have to be able to do code switching, right? So you talk to business, then you come back and you talk to your faculty, because we don't think of ourselves as a business, right? And so then what level of partnership are you going to have? And so being very sensitive to all of that is a very important part of it. So all of that type of thing was already happening before pre-Gen AI. So I think it really set the stage for when Gen AI emerged, that you're building off of these relationships you're already building. And then in my case, already thinking about AI and how it could impact and transform your organization. So I bring all of that together because I'm already thinking holistically. And that's important because of this conversation we ended up having with end to end. And I think, again, saying there are ways that we think and approach problems. That doesn't go away just because of this evolution of Gen AI and AI in general, right? So it's like, so what problem are we trying to solve? And then what was becoming very apparent here in the state of California. So I arrived here, and one of the big issues that was really unfolding was this whole fraudulent student notion and these bots starting to take seats in classrooms, and not only just taking the seats in the classroom, but what they're really after is getting access to the financial aid dollars.
Right.
And so that was not a problem that was just a California problem. We started seeing this even in my last place. But the scale and scope of it was just so magnified here in California that all of a sudden you could not just solve this problem on your own as an institution. But then now we have AI and this notion of Gen AI. So could we deploy that as part of our design to solve this problem? But again, you define the problem you want to solve. You start to design how you're going to approach that problem, and then taking a human-centric approach to that design work, where you start to involve, in this case, the financial aid office folks, involve the registration office folks as part of the conversation, understanding what faculty are going through, and then working with a partner. Fortunately, California already had a strong relationship with end to end through the California Virtual College, that here was a partner who had just come out, I don't know how long before this, with their LightLeapAI solution, that now we were in conversations to do something else with that. And now here, what a perfect problem, if you will, to use this solution around. Well, it further makes the point that we're now in a world where you cannot move forward without a private-public partnership that's not just grounded in transactional, but in grounded in a transformational mindset, right? We solve things together, and in solving things together, we we address each other's mutual interest. But you can't do that if you're just transactioning, I'm going to buy your product to do this, and thank you very much, see you later, right? This is about what can we do to really transform that student journey to where it becomes a positive force, not only for the student, but for our communities. And to have a partner like End-to-End that gets it and listens to the challenges we face and then to design solutions based on that. It goes beyond fraud. It starts to move into other solutions to the student's journey.
I really enjoyed that conversation with Dr. Lambert. What a nice man and a very thoughtful professional. Now we want to, and one side note, if you do have questions during our Quantum Leap today, feel free to drop them in the chat section of Zoom. And I see Kiran is sort of live answering them. But if we don't get to them today, we will aggregate those together and we will then send out the responses in a timely fashion so that we can focus on our presentations today. I want to now talk about document intelligence as our next outcome-based agent, Prism. And I would like to welcome to the screen Abhinav to help walk us through it.
Rod, for passing it over to me. Hey everyone, hope everyone is having a good quantum leap. I am Abhinav and I'm here to present the project Prism. Colleges don't hire staff to enter data, they hire them to change lives. But every day, valuable hours are lost to paperwork that technology can handle in seconds. Staff spend their mornings uploading PDFs, retyping grades, matching names, and cross-checking forms, instead of mentoring students, supporting enrollment, or improving retention. That's exactly the problem Prism is built to solve. Across higher education, staff spend hundreds of hours processing documents, transcripts, applications, financial aid forms, and transfer requests. They come in every imaginable format: scanned, handwritten, email, or printed. Each one needs to be read, validated, and re-entered manually into the student information system. This manual process causes slow turnaround times, data entry errors, and compliance headaches. Admissions get delayed, transcript evaluations pile up, and students are left waiting for updates. It's not just inefficiency, it's lost opportunity for student success. That's why we created Prism. Prism is an AI-powered document ingestion platform designed specifically for higher education. It reads any document, a transcript, an application, or custom form, and automatically extracts, validates, and structures the data. Using OCR combined with large language models, Prism understands context. It can tell a course code from a grade or a student ID from a date. It integrates directly with major SI systems like Banner, Ethos, and PeopleSoft through secure APIs. It's built on LightLeapAI Foundation, which is secure, scalable, and compliant with institutional data standards. Essentially, Prism takes what used to take hours of manual work and completes it accurately in minutes. So why now? Because higher education is in the middle of digital transformation, institutions are under pressure to do more with smaller teams. Staffing shortages and enrollment surges are stretching administrative departments thin. At the same time, students expect faster service, instant transcript evaluation, immediate onboarding, and seamless data accuracy. AI is now advanced enough to handle complex academic documents safely, and colleges can't afford to wait to modernize. Prism stands apart because it's purpose built for education. It's not a generic OCR tool, it's a domain specific AI trained to understand academic structures. It uses large language models for higher accuracy, data extraction, and builds reusable templates that grow smarter with every upload. Colleges can configure their own templates, reuse them across departments, and instantly integrate extracted data into their systems. Ultimately, Prism doesn't just automate, it transforms administrative work into student progress. Here's how Prism works. A staff member uploads a document, say a student transcript, Prism reads it, identifies key values, validates the data, and converts it into a structured format ready for the essays. It can flag anomalies automatically for review while processing hundreds of records in the background. From upload to integration, the entire process takes minutes, securely, accurately, and at scale. Think about the time that saves across thousands of documents every term. And this isn't just a theory. Colleges are already seeing results. At Palo Verde Community College, Prism digitalized paper applications for incarcerated and fire science students. Processing time dropped from several days to under 2 hours per batch with 96% accuracy. At Ivy Tech Community College, transcript evaluation that once took days to finish in hours, a 75% reduction in processing time. These schools show that automation doesn't replace people, it gives them back the time to focus on truly what matters, helping students. This isn't about replacing people, it's about empowering them to work smarter and serve students better. Every hour saved is another hour for advising, teaching, mentoring, and guiding a student's future. When you multiply that across departments and campuses, the impacts are enormous. Technology should empower people, not replace them, and Prism does exactly that. Colleges don't hire staff to enter data, they hire them to change students' lives. With Prism, they can stop managing documents and start changing lives. Thank you. Back to you, Rod.
Thank you, Abhinav. I really appreciate that. I had earlier this week, I just love my conversation. I hope it's the first of many with Clint Cowden. He's the Vice President of Instruction and Student Services at Palo Verde College. And I wanted to share some of his comments that go deep into the impacts, the collateral damage that he's been working on to repair and to make sure that the environment that his people are working in is one that is sustainable and enjoyable as we now battle very different, I think, opponents out there, as we've discussed already. So let's hear a little bit from Clint Cowden.
Currently, 50% of my students are incarcerated at one of six prisons up and down the state of California. And they are, and we're teaching those in a correspondence format. And so that is that's 50% of our students. The other 35 to 40% of our students are firefighters or first responders scattered around the state of California, coming in and doing short course work, probably through their fire department or those types of things. And then we have that smaller 10 to 15% that is our local learners. So when we start talking about that 80 to 90% of our students, they have to do all of their paperwork in paper. So when they apply to our college, they have to do it on paper. And if you're incarcerated, you're doing that with the number 2 pencil. And in California, how you get into college is you have to go to the 3C Apply website and apply. So 90% of our students don't have that opportunity. And so what we had done as a workaround is have paper applications that we would mail out to these institutions, mail out to these firehouses, wherever this training was being done. People would fill that out, they would mail it back to us, and then we would have one of our employees try to read their handwriting that's now smeared, smudged. Maybe, obviously, if I'm a first generation student, maybe I didn't know what the questions meant. Sure. So I'm going to try to interpret all of that information, and I'm going to put it into the software so that, quote unquote, we can get them accepted. And so you can see that just in that frame, how complicated it is. When we started to say, how can we let you do the parts of your job that you love? And less of the busy work, less of the finger pointing work. And then I got accidentally lucky. Complete random good luck, right? So I was at we have 2 meetings a year for all the vice presidents that are in charge of student services in California. And I was at that, and we were sitting there, and we were got really lucky. There were some people sitting at my table that their shirt happened to say end-to-end. We started talking about what they're doing on fraud protection. They're already working for our college. It was great. And like all good vice presidents, I started complaining about a problem that I had. We started talking about how could AI solve the problem. And when I had that conversation, and as it moved forward, and as Kiran had that, I came back and I had conversations, and again, in a very strong unionized group. And it basically was, let's do it. Let's jump in and let's see it. 85% of the people that are doing it enjoy their job better, feel like they're doing truly the kind of the mission vision that they thought they signed up for. And we're getting less and less complaints from those prison locations. And with the technology, we can predict a lot of the answers for our people. So now all of a sudden, instead of me going through and typing the information in, because again, we have the same number of people as institutions that are primarily face-to-face. So now when someone comes in the office and I have to stop and help the student in front of me instead of typing in the information, right? How easy is it to lose your line? Now what they're doing is on our screen is the student information, the AI analytics of what that information is, with those inner great colors of green is good, yellows pay a little more attention, red watch out. And we always talk about, you know, if design, if there's a problem, then you start working on a solution. But most people come in and they have a solution, they're just looking for a problem. This was exactly the opposite. This has absolutely always been about, I had a problem, end-to-end of solving my problem, and they're partners, because we started saying things like, oh, wait, so we could just make this work even better if we change the form? Well, because it's our, like, we can just change the form. We could actually have a different form for firefighters and incarcerated students. That's okay. And you don't see that nowadays. Most of the technology you're working with, right? Let's face it, it's a generic number and you got to put in a ticket. And does enough people vote on your ticket to be able to do it? That's not our experience at all. It is, what do you guys want? How can we solve it? And is it good for students? And that's our, I mean, that from my, as a vice president, it's amazing to have that.
Really appreciate Clint's contributions there. And now I want to turn to our next outcome-based agent, and that's Student Services Accelerator named Polaris. And I'd like to welcome up to the screen Sai Ram. Sai?
Thank you, Rod. Good morning, everyone. Today I'm here to present Polaris, a platform designed to improve how educational institutions manage their student support services. In essence, Polaris helps staff handle student cases more efficiently, ensures the right people are assigned to the right cases, and provides full visibility from start to resolution. It's about making case management smarter, more connected, and student-focused with the help of AI. Let's begin with the challenge. Most institutions still rely on manual tools, emails, spreadsheets, and disconnected systems. We know this how because we did talk to a few institutions and our beta partners. We were told advisors spend hours chasing updates and students often don't know where their case stands. The result is delay, confusion, and inconsistent communication. This is the gap Polaris was built to close. So, why Polaris? We wanted to create a system that brings structure and transparency to case management. Polaris tracks every case from start to finish, makes the process clean to everyone involved, and removes the need for endless emails or manual logs. It helps institutions focus less on process and more on people. Let's hop onto the platform and log in to check how Polaris works in practice. When a student submits a case, Polaris captures it instantly and routes it to the right department or advisor based on predefined rules. Staff can view their dashboards and see exactly what's new, pending, or resolved. All updates and communication stay within the same platform, so everyone from students to administrators sees the same information. And on top of it, with addition to AI-driven summaries available on the platform, staff can get a quick overview of complex cases without having to dig through long reports. It's automation with human oversight, efficient but always accountable. Polaris is built for reliability. All data is securely stored in the cloud and updates happen in real time. So here's one example where I'm going to change the status and the status reflects onto the request exactly right away in a matter of milliseconds. And the same update happens to anybody that logs in who has access to the same platform. It automatically prevents duplicate entries or missing details and remembers frequently accessed data for instant retrieval. Whether it's 10 cases or 10,000, Polaris delivers a smooth, consistent experience. One of Polaris' greatest strengths is its flexibility. Every institution has its own process. Polaris adapts to them. You can modify workflows, rules, and templates without technical changes. The balance of structure and flexibility makes Polaris suitable for any institution. Let's get back to the presentation. In summary, the impact is significant. The system also provides data insights that help institutions make more informed improvements over time.
Thank you, Sairam. Joel, it is nice to meet you. I appreciate the live, sort of like a newsroom here, right? So I know you're, we're starting to share your screen here, Joel. So just wanted to bring you on here to talk a little bit about your work and how AI is now changing that work that you're doing.
Yeah, great. Assuming you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Yeah. So just want to start off by thanking Kiran and Rod for having me. I'm super excited to listen in on the work that others are doing, but also share some of the work we've done at Mission College. So here to talk about the Mission Cares AI initiative. And really this is a project to enhance support for students and staff. This project was brought to me by the president of Mission College, President Sahar Awan, and my team. Really, she was seeing that delivery of service to students in need was just taking way too long. So it was really taxing on her staff. And then also it's just kind of poor service for her student. So this is really a project to deliver student resources and critical services quickly and efficiently. So let's see. Let's see. So what was the problem? So we have a variety of these different programs at our school, like many other colleges, EOPS, MESA, Rising Scholars Trio. These are all different support programs based on different populations. But each one of these programs had their own intake process. They also had different eligibility rules and tracking process. So this was painstaking for the staff because they had to manually cross-check multiple systems, as mentioned in other presentations, had to pull data from the SIS data. In this case, we're a banner shop. There's form submissions from students, transcripts, and then they're tracking all this in what I call a spreadsheet of doom to determine each student's eligibility. Advisors did not have one centralized real-time view of student eligibility. Even when they collected all this information, it could already be out of date because a student may have registered for another class or dropped another class. So the information, even when they pulled it together, wasn't necessarily accurate. So again, this process was slow, time-consuming. Students slipped through the cracks or just waited too long. So if you can imagine a student who was homeless or became food insecure and having to wait 2, maybe 3 weeks, not for service, but even for the initial response. That's the situation a lot of our students were in. So then we'd already partnered with AI and I'm sorry, with End-to-End on various projects, including fraud and the Illuminate Gateway. So we engaged End-to-End on the conversation. And the main thing was to develop a centralized dashboard that had data in real time. So that's what we helped build out. So it pulled data again from Banner, from form submissions and other sources. And then what we did was we trained AI to look at those eligibility rules of every single program and then assess each student and provide a summary for each advisor. So it looked at things like major, GPA, financial aid, other factors, and then generated this plain language eligibility summary for each program. So then what the advisors get is, like I said, a clear AI-generated breakdown of which eligibility criteria are met or not met. But again, we have AI doing the initial assessment, but then humans to verify. Overall, the impact has been exactly what we wanted: faster, higher quality of service. This frees up time. They're no longer collecting data and collating data. The advisors are now able to have personalized connection with the students. As mentioned in previous presentations, it's really getting more face-to-face time with the students or dealing with those students that have really complicated situations. So initial reports, advisors are saying this is saving 5 hours per week. So once fully adopted by all the advisors, that's going to equate to 3,000 hours saved annually. And then what's next? I'm not going to go too far. So in the next year, we'll definitely be expanding our banner and other platform connections to capture additional details to help assess eligibility criteria. We want to transition from a passive application process where a student applies for a program, but we already have most of the data in our system. So we want to do real-time nudges or proactive outreach of, looking at their data, and maybe they meet 4 out of the 5 criteria, and prompt them to engage with the department because they may be eligible. Other short-term goals are the ability for our advisors to just chat about a student's record. So right now we have a dashboard of very specific needed data, but advisors may have a specific question about a student, like show me all the students I need to follow up with today, or show me all the students currently in awaiting to reply status. So that's kind of the short-term goal. Long-term would be really looking at all the student systems and preemptively reaching out to students who are in need of support. Like Kiran mentioned, hey, somebody got a parking ticket. They haven't got any food from the cafeteria in a week. They haven't logged into Canvas. And so having AI do that outreach to find out what's going on with that student and what kind of support we could provide. Back to you, Rod.
Thank you, Joel. I really appreciate that. I think it goes without saying you went above and beyond, and I really appreciate you sharing your expertise in real time and what you're dealing with. We want to thank Joel Bennett. He's the Director of Education Technology at West Valley Mission Community College District. All right, let's go on to our next outcome-based agent, Orion. Fraud intelligence. I guess maybe this is one of the sort of the main characters here in what we're talking about, or the main topics. And I want to welcome to the screen Rishita, Rakesh, and Ketan to walk us through Orion.
While we're doing that, why don't we pass the baton to Jory? Jory, you want to talk a little bit about Orion collaboration, and then I'll check in on Rohan?
Sure. Thank you, Kiran. Yes, it's great to be here as part of Quantum Leap today, and really honored to talk about the work that we've done with End-to-End as sort of co-creating Orion with End-to-End, and having this really come out of a critical set of business needs that we had at Foothill De Anza District. We're here kind of next door to Joel Bennett's mission, West Valley Mission District, here in Silicon Valley. And had been dealing with an onslaught of fraudulent applications and ghost students, bot students appearing in courses. And we're able to have the conversation, right? Really a brainstorming conversation with Kieran and his team to talk about, are there ways we could leverage AI capabilities to help us solve this problem and create more access for our students and safeguard our financial aid dollars? So it's been really an incredible journey with Orion, from the initial, early prototype testing that we were doing together, checking, results against data sets, and validating, and we had a whole teams of admissions and financial aid and IT folks working on the project alongside the really talented folks at End-to-End. So um, for us, what that's meant out here in California has been other districts. Joel's district adopted, and then it kind of started to catch on like wildfire, just based on the fact that we're open access institutions and um, particularly vulnerable in certain ways to fraudsters who want to exploit that access. So it's been an incredible journey. I continue to be impressed to watch where the Orion platform continues to go as part of the Lightleap portfolio, and just continue to see new and exciting things and the ways this is helping our institutions, and now we're building it into the fabric of our California community college system so that so more universally, our 116 colleges can take advantage of the ability to really protect our courses and our resources for the students who need them. So, Rod, I don't know if you had any
Thank you,
follow-up
Jory.
questions or
Yeah,
any.
I guess my interest is in, did you ever think even 5 years ago that this would be the sort of the lead, the headline of what you would be tackling? And was there a was there a flashpoint where you said, I think this is going to be my Monday through Monday kind of issue?
It's a great question. I mean,
Mm.
there have definitely been days where I thought, I went into IT, not law enforcement, and sometimes it feels like that, right? I mean,
Officer Hetzel.
right? So yeah, maybe we need little, lightly badges or something to wear. But no, I mean, and really, it's in all seriousness, we try to really be careful about how we talk about how this can impact students because we do have a lot of vulnerable populations who are sensitive to that kind of thing. So I think really finding that balance between how do we have a product that can work in the background without creating these front door obstacles
Yeah.
for our students, right? That's so important as open access institutions. And with Orion, we've been able to really strike that balance, right? So it happens behind the scenes, but it's not just the AI, it's the humans overseeing the AI and having access to the dashboards and the functionality. And like I couldn't let that piece go without mentioning just the amount of work that was like human effort and labor that was going into this problem before we had an AI solution. And so that's also a part of the story is we're
Yeah.
freeing people up to serve students or to more heavily scrutinize those accounts that look like they may be fraudulent and have even deeper results that way.
Yeah, that's something that's come up in a number of these discussions prior to Quantum Leap today, which was the impact on registrars and just making sure that people, the burnout, right? That we're not burning people out when they didn't sign up to be, to your point, an officer of the law. They were there because they had a passion to help students on the operational side of things.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And the sort of my initial sort of reach out to Karen on this was after sitting in a meeting with our registrars and our financial aid folks, and it was that like throwing the hands up in the air moment, of just like we've got to do something different. So, hey, AI, let's see what we can do. And
Yeah, and you're put in a difficult position because that means that you're then acknowledging there's a challenge when you've got all these other things you're trying to tackle. So it is threading the proverbial needle. Well, we really appreciate your partnership, your collaborative spirit about this, and positive attitude as well, because it can be daunting at times. But it sounds like you're doing quite well there. We really appreciate it, Jory.
thanks, Rod.
All right, Rohan, are we ready to have Kiran pop up on the screen and walk us
Yeah,
through
well, I think
Orion?
there's a couple of things that's going on right now. Uh, Jory kind of talked about Orion as a product line. I want to kind of talk about the genesis of it. I think Lee brought this up as well, where this whole project started as a collaboration between Foot Alianza and End-to-End, but it really started on March of 2024, where we were all sitting in a conference called Herdy West. I think it's in Seattle, I believe. And we were talking about, hey, Lightleap can do this. Lightleap can help uh, students graduate faster or reduce your dropout rates, increase your freshman retention. And I think Jory and Lee were in attendance, and they brought up this idea saying, Kieran, all of this is great, but can we take a pause here and talk about fraud? And I'm like, what do you mean fraud? Like, and then that's what led us to this discussion. We quickly pivoted and said, let's build, just like Amal talked about an AI ML model. We pivoted and said, let's go build an AI ML model that would not only initially it was just like, let's find the needle in the haystack, right? Because there was a lot of discussions about, oh, this is probably fraud, that is probably fraud. And our biggest issue was like we did not even know what fraud was, in that like they did not even have a clear, well, like Sai was talking about a y-axis on who the fraudulent actors are. Because for you to build a pre-trained model, you need to be able to build it using a set of y-axis. So to make long story short, we pivoted and built that platform for Lienza, and we went live in August of 2024. Sounds like an eternity ago, but after that, the rest is history, really. We started moving quickly. And what you have right now and is a pretty sophisticated platform that not only identifies fraud, but also allows them to clear the fraud. Because the issue that we saw was, yes, we were identifying the fraud, but the students were calling, or the bots were calling and saying, hey, I applied and I'm a real student. Why are you holding me up? And the ANR teams were like, how do I know whether these are fraud or not? So we essentially implemented a ID clearance utility as well, so that not only the agentic framework identifies the fraud, but also sends a request to the student to be able to clear themselves as well. And this platform is now used by over 60 colleges in California, California Community College System. The Chancellor's office has decided to purchase it for the entire system, and we are actively rolling it across the United States and in multiple places. And one of the cool things that I think Laura was kind of alluding to this is that now we've not only collaborated with California Community College System, but also collaborated with the Ellucian, where Ellucian's product team has worked closely with end-to-end to integrate their apply and recruit and eventually financial aid, so that as soon as they apply, the request comes to LightLeap, and LightLeap will score it, return it back. And if LightLeap scores somebody as potentially fraudulent, it will prevent them from even going to student information system. So this is pretty exciting for end-to-end, because it allows us to move from zapping the fraudsters after they enter the student information system to stopping them from entering SIS itself. So super excited about this. And you probably have heard of some of our success metrics here. But most importantly, as successful as all this has been, this is only successful because of thought leaders like Jory and Lee and frankly, Chancellor Christian, to truly take an effort to not only identify fraud, but eliminate it altogether. So, this is remarkably one of my greatest collaborations. And Jory, thank you for that.
And
Rod, back to you.
I believe now, Kiran, that we have Ketan who's ready to present. So I believe if you make Rohan the lead presenter, the audio should come back online, but we will see in real time.
All right, where's Ketan? While we're doing that, why don't you pass it to Marina so that she can talk about our strategic collaboration?
Marina, nice to meet you. I feel like I know of you. I've heard lots of conversations about you and the collaboration that you've had with N10 and LightLeap. If you wouldn't mind sharing a few words about your experience, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't believe anything they say about me.
Okay.
Well, good morning from California. I'm Marina Amini. I'm executive director of the California Virtual Campus. And, our mission is really to make online learning more connected, more equitable, more efficient. And our partnership with N2N has really helped to do that, is really just transforming education and the way we look at the student journey. Over the past 4 years, and I believe we're one of Kiran's oldest customers, we've been collaborating closely with N2N and his team to strengthen the technical backbone of the Course Exchange, which is our course sharing platform. And N2N really is the middleware and the APIs that help us to simplify really complex tasks of connecting systems, moving data like student records, enrollment processes across all of the 116 colleges. Last year, we had more than 33,000 enrollments that were enabled by that network of APIs and middleware. And so we really depend on that. It's a critical part of the course sharing that we do to support our 2.1 million students in the California community colleges. What's really exciting now about LightLeapAI, this integration layer, is that it's bringing new intelligence to the middleware framework. And so I love to dream with Kiran and his team and sort of ask the questions of, could we use LightLeapAI to make prerequisite clearances more smooth so that students can get into classes that they need to without waiting for a human being to go and review records? Can we make financial awards more consistent? Can we really minimize some of the more burdensome bureaucratic processes that we create, that make barriers for students? And so that's really the exciting future partnership that I see with End2End and Kiran's team. And really, basically, how do we use tools to have fewer delays, more automation, and ultimately a smoother experience for students during enrollment processes? And beyond that, I just want to really comment on the partnership that we have with Kiran and his team. Just this shared commitment to innovation, to thought leadership. They're incredibly agile, and they're just an active collaborator. They've been responsive and creative and just deeply aligned with our mission of having an open, interconnected ecosystem for our learners. So a big thank you to the team, and we look forward to additional collaborations.
Thank you, Marina. Really appreciate that. All right, so I think Ketan is ready to present. So I'm going to pass that along to you, Ketan. Welcome. We'll talk a little bit about Orion.
Thanks, Rod. Let me go ahead and present. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep. Excellent. All right. So I joined End2End. I had the pleasure of joining End2End about a year and some change ago. I've been working in fraud prevention for around 7 years now. So when I heard that there was a fraud problem in community colleges, the first thought I had was like, wait, why are they going to community colleges? What's the goal of these fraudsters there? So ultimately, what they're primarily interested in is stealing financial aid. And there's a couple of things that are making that possible at this point in time. So during COVID-19, there was a massive push for online education, and that has only become more popular in recent years. That push essentially made it easier for fraudsters to apply with stolen information from the dark web or wherever they're getting it, from phishing attacks, applying to community colleges, which are open access institutions, and then ultimately getting in, enrolling in classes, and taking up space, taking up login information, harassing existing students for their login credentials, etc. And worst of all, getting financial aid after filling out the application. And once that money has transferred to the account, they are never to be heard of again. And when the college or the DOE reaches out to that person whose information was stolen, they've never attended the college and they're asking what's going on. I've never applied for financial aid. So this was a recent problem. It was a problem that was affecting people across the board. And so we really needed a solution now. As you can see on my screen, this affects students because they're not able to get into the class and, complete their degree because there's a bunch of bots taking up the most in-demand classes. Faculty then have to go and identify who are these legitimate actors and who are these students and who are these fraudulent actors, taking away time from their already difficult job trying to educate their students and get them towards their goals. And of course, admissions and financial aid staff are getting swarmed with all these applicants who may or may not be fraud. And a human investigator is going to be really good at telling whether or not one person is a legit student. You can look up that address, you can take their phone number and look it up in white pages, but how many times can you realistically do that in a day if a community college district is getting thousands of applications? And of course, in California, in Texas, in Arizona, the taxpayer is also losing here. That financial aid money is meant to build the future here. We're trying to get students educated and do so in the most affordable way possible. And this leakage, this transfer of the financial aid to fraudsters is holding back that effort. And so that was how pressing of an issue this was. As you can see, once we rolled out the fraud prevention platform at Foothill De Anza, we had a tremendous amount of success. We were doubling the amount of frauds identified, and then as we rolled out, we're close to identifying over 900 or close to 900,000 fraudulent applicants. So, what's the solution here? In rolling this out, it's not just about identifying the fraudster. It's not just about doing person verification to every single person who comes. It's about creating a cohesive system that can flag at multiple areas. So once the student applies, we're going to run our AI model to detect whether or not that person is in fact who they say they are. And if we deem them suspicious, we automatically send them ID verification request, which our admissions officer or a financial aid officer can review from the LightLeap platform real time, and resend the link if it expired, and check over the application to see exactly what factors made the model make its determination. And this is moving admissions and financial aid officers from investigating each applicant as it comes in to monitoring, tremendously enhancing their ability to stop fraud, let students continue to enrollment, and give them back the time to get back to their actual jobs, which is getting students to enroll and to ultimately graduate. We don't just stop at admissions. Because of our expertise in working with enrollment data, we have the ability to comb the students at first when they enter, then when they go to register for classes, and at the financial aid level. With these three levels, we've had a tremendous amount of success bringing the fraudulent activity at any college we're working with to zero. And so why use AI? Why not go with statistical rules that have been previously employed in this industry? Well, as you put in a rule, let's say we have a college in Texas and the applicant is coming in from Alaska. That is a little suspicious, and we can create a rule around that. However, once the fraudsters start learning, they're just going to quickly adapt. And so AI is the only tool that can cleanly separate fraud from realistic students, and to learn as the fraudsters kind of adapt their tactics. We've had a tremendous amount of success. I think around this time last year, we were only live at 6 to 7 colleges. That number has increased tenfold. We're now live at over 70 plus colleges, going outside of California, now in 7 states, and we're looking to add more by the day. Just like you heard from Jory before, we nearly doubled the amount of frauds we were identifying with our platform once we went live. And the administration and the admissions office was so thrilled with the results. They're using our model to automatically stop fraudulent activity as we flag it, forcing the student to either verify themselves in person or through our identity verification tool. The real test was when we went beyond Foothill De Anza, when we rolled out to other colleges like West Valley and Napa Valley. So this was a big test because we wanted to see if the tool will generalize beyond just one college's environment, and it did. Napa Valley was at a point where there were so many bots incoming. I think upwards of 50% of the applications were in fact bots, and they were taking up so much space that legitimate students were not able to register for the classes. After implementing within about 2 weeks, we were able to identify all of the fraudulent activity that was occurring historically, stop it, put holds on those students, and clear out those enrollments, freeing up close to 24,000 spots so that students could then once again start enrolling. And now we put in a tremendous amount of work going into our updated platform, which is going to be live with our customers, our existing customers, very soon. I will be reaching out along with my wonderful implementation team. And as you can see here, we're going to have all three of those checks at the application, the registration, and the financial aid application level. You will be able to adjust the thresholds at which we are marking and automatically placing the holds. You will be able to automate whether or not those flagged applicants are going to receive a ID verification, and you're going to be able to customize the messaging in that app to say, hey, you have to come in person, or you can select a Zoom link or complete the ID verification link included in the email, and much more. So I'm super excited about the new release of this platform. There's a lot of new bells and whistles coming that we got inspiration from working with our 70 plus customers. They are dealing with this issue every day, so we kind of had a cheat sheet in how to build the perfect fraud prevention system and case management solution, so that like I said at the top of this, we're trying to reduce the amount of time that admissions officers and financial aid officers are spending dealing with this issue, so that we're taking you back to the pre-COVID-19 days where admissions officers and financial aid officers can just focus on their job without spending hours and hours per day, scrutinizing whether or not an address is in fact a house or an empty lot. And Rod, back to you.
Hey, Ketan, I did not know 7 years working in the fraud sector. You are an officer of the law. Thank you for your service, Ketan. I want to bring to the screen Rupa Saran. She is the Vice Chancellor and Chief Information Technology Officer at Coast Community College District. Rupa, how are you today? I feel like we're getting to know each other. We've had a number of conversations, and I've enjoyed each and every one of them. And what I love is that you really provide context based on sort of the historical relationships that you've built through the work that you do. And I'd love to start there, if you don't mind. Could we talk about the history of your relationship in this space, and just how it provides a bit of a baseline into the discussion we're having?
Morning, Rod, and good
Morning.
morning, everyone. So absolutely happy to share some of my background relationship with End2End. Pretty much it started right about the time of COVID when we were going to implement CVC, California Virtual Campus. You heard from Marina, and that was like a perfect timing because COVID was starting and that really needed for our students. And Rod, as you said, we spoke a little bit before, and I'm one of those leaders. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. When I say I'm going to deliver at this X amount of time, I fulfill my commitment. And we were the first one to go in 3 months to get the CVC implemented for our district. That was the time End2End kind of start coming to, for me, right, to know what is, who is End2End, what do they do. So that's kind of like it started from there, but slowly kind of start the relationship, as I mentioned to you before, I am one of those leaders firmly believe in relationship, in people, even though I am a technologist, but I think it's always about people, no matter who you are, what you do, which field you're in. So to me, getting to know people, having that relationship, and most importantly, trust, right? So that was the time that AI was starting to pop and into our framework, but I was more learning about the company and people. And that's when Kiran and I kind of start having some of those conversations. And I think some of our speakers have already talked about LightLeapAI fraudulent application piece. And that's when we really got to kind of start engaging and starting to find out about how do we also eliminate this fraudulent applications problem. And as you have heard before, registrars are spending awful amount of time. They don't need to be a police officer to do this, right? They need to
upwards of
concentrate.
50% of their time, Rupa, I'm hearing from people.
Exactly. 50% of our registrars. And now I'm a multi-college district, 3 colleges, 3 registrars. Think about that. It's 150%, right? If you combine it as a district resources. So it was really, really important for us to have a tool that is effective and efficient. Also, knowing AI is part of that, but I am very much in tune with how AI, there are pros and cons, just like any other tool, and wanted to make sure it's ethical, that human factor is built in. And that's when more and more conversations with Kiran that got to know him and the relationship, right? So when we were needing things, if I either send an email, call, always been like, he's been always responsive, and that's when the true partnership started. For me, partnership is very different than a company or a vendor.
And that's what stuck out to me in our conversation, because you had talked about, and I wrote it down several times, but vendors converting to partners, right? And over your right shoulder, right, you've got a number of sayings there, but the one that sticks out to me is be you as part of the calculus in converting vendors to partners, is that sort of authentic self and the way in which you communicate the challenges that you're facing, the gravity of those, and really what you need in a vulnerable position that our organizations are in right now because of the onslaught and the fluid nature of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is important, right? And thank you for noticing. I do like a few of my sayings there. So yes, I am very much in that be you, and what we do, not only me personally, our institution, what we do, we're here to serve our students, our learners, as theme has been for today, with reskilling, upskilling, educating, degrees, certificate, right? That's what we're here for, and that's what we should be doing. So if we have tools that is going to help our community, our registrars, our financial aid officers, our students, we should use it because we're here to serve our students. And having that human interaction with students, I'm a firm believer, that is a lot more valuable than just, texting, right? I get it. I have 3 adult children. They all like texting, and human interaction is very different. So to me, if we free up our time and give the time for our folks to interact with student and help them truly in human interaction, that serves our purpose. So that is important.
Now, I'm going to imagine that as a visionary that I think that you are, that I believe that you are from our conversations, that you are now applying some of this thinking and work into future iterations or applications. Do you want to talk a little bit about with the group some future visions that you have based now on what you've been able to achieve through what you've been working on collaboratively with end to end?
Of course. I wear multiple hats. So obviously I work for Coast District and oversee all the technology. And I'm also a board president for Chief Information Systems Officers Association, known as CISOA. So we're, 73 districts, 116 colleges, all the CTOs, we come together, collaborate, and kind of see what all we're doing. How do we help each other? So I wear that hat. And then the one that I'm really excited, which is already, it's in the process, it's happening, is our system-wide initiative, Common Cloud Data Platform. And that was, thanks to our state chancellor, Dr. Christian, that we wanted to kind of collaborate together. And I'm leading the system initiative where we can bring in districts and their data, which is their student information data, ERP, their enterprise resource planning, that we bring in data, normalize it. Most importantly, what does that mean? How do we help our students? That's how we all think. And it's the bringing the data together. Currently, we're in the demonstration mode, so we have 13 districts participating. So we got data in. But from students' perspective, here's how I look at it. There's a lot more we can do with AI, but even now, as we all are aware, most of our students, they're not just one community college student. They take classes in various colleges. And how do we bring it together for them? Make it easy, right? Because if you have 3 different transcripts, 4 different transcripts, sometimes they don't even realize, like 3 years ago, I've taken a class. But if we bring that data as a centralized data in and bring all their credentials and help them with their transfers, help them with their certificate, and bring in AI to do a lot of things a lot faster and more efficient way of doing it, that is exciting. And we're truly helping our students. So to me, those are my core value. And you heard a lot of California colleagues. I'm so proud. California is driving here. So we're serving our students. And one thing I do want to point out, there are other colleagues on this call, our community college system, about close to 2.2 million students. We are the largest system in the nation. So think about what we can do as a system to help our students. That's where I get so excited.
And to lead the discussion. I mean, that's where I think I might have said to you that I think of you as a bit of an explorer in that way. And I think that really highlights the collaboration and the approach, so that if you trust who you're working with and collaborating with, you can tackle these very fluid issues. But it's so nice for you to spend time with us today, Rupa. We really appreciate your leadership and your willingness to just share the sort of the bumps, the bruises, and also these incredible outcomes as you move forward.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we are going to now go to our next outcome-based agent, and I believe we have solved some technical issues. So we're going to go to Ether. It just keeps everything fresh and live. So let's talk about...
Before you cue that up, Rohan will now post a link on your chat window. In fact, he will post a QR code as well. As we mentioned when we started this, there'll be 3 awards or winners from this session today. One of them is a raffle that we talked about. The other one is your favorite outcome-based agent, and also your favorite speaker as well. It's just something to excite all of us for being involved with the process. So if you don't mind, please make sure to either click the link on your chat window or take a picture of this QR code and to pull up the Google form to queue up your polling. And we'll talk a little bit about the polling process as soon as the Ether demonstration is over. Back to you, Rod.
Thank you, Kiran. I'd like to welcome in Vamsi into the screen to talk about Ether.
Hey everyone, I'm Vamsi, one of the developers behind Ether. I hope you liked all the products showcased till now. Coming to Ether, it is a conversational chatbot. And I'm sure as soon as I mention chatbot, most of you are probably thinking, here we go, another ChatGPT. But I'm confident you will change your perspective after listening to what I have to say. Ether was created with a single purpose, a conversation agent powered by multi-agent architecture with strict data privacy at its core. Each college operates within its own secure LightLeap deployments, ensuring that all institutional data remains completely private and fully contained within your environment. And it is also a one-stop solution to access all the LightLeap flagship products, Prism, Polaris, Orion, and Atlas. Each of these is integrated into Aether as its own specialized agent. What makes Aether unique, you may ask? I would say it is its flexibility. It can don many hats, one of them being a student-facing conversational agent. Let me walk you through that persona. Each student have their own account, and once they log in, the idea is that the chatbot can answer any question related to their journey in the college. As of now, we have preloaded dummy SIS data, which connects to our own internal sandbox. To showcase its power, let me ask a few questions related to the user. Aether connects to the SIS to retrieve the user's data as context, which the LLM then uses to generate accurate, personalized responses. Let me quickly ask another question as well. And the same goes with this query as well. It queries the SIS, gets the data, sends the context to the LLM, and LLM then uses it to give a personalized information. As you can see, there is no more navigating through 10 tabs or dropping multiple emails to view the information. Aether also has a live web connector. Let me quickly ask a web search related question. So behind the scenes, Aether is scraping the web based on the context set by the user, which is Harvard University. In this case, although not a customer of end-to-end yet, but they will be soon. Aether also showcases the web pages it used to serve. So as you can see, I can just click on the URLs and it will open in a new tab. And with that, I'll wrap up my demo. I hope you all liked what you saw. And there are a few other modules as well, which we want to showcase. The next module is guided pathways, and my colleague Sai Gupta will be taking it from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Vamsi. Today I'm going to tell you about the guided pathways module. So counselors spend countless hours helping students choose the right courses, plan their academic paths, and make sure they stay on track to graduate. Most of this work is manual, reviewing transcripts, checking prerequisites, and re-explaining the same steps to hundreds of students every semester. Our guided pathways solve this problem by creating a clear, automated roadmap for every student. It showed them exactly what courses to take, in what order, how each step connects to their goals, whether it's graduation, transfer, or career readiness. By giving students a self-service, personalized pathways, we reduce the time counselors spend on routine planning, allowing them to focus on what really matters, mentoring and supporting students who need deeper guidance. In short, this module will help counselor work smarter, not harder, saving time, improving efficiency, and empowering students to take charge on their own journeys. So this is a quick 10 seconds demo. So this student, for 13502, we are recommending these three courses as the next courses which they have to take. Till now, he completed this many credits, and this is the alignment score. Alignment score, it tells how much he's aligned to his completing of his accounting major and what is the success probability, how much success he have in his previous terms, and how much he gonna complete in the future. So these are the courses. What he take is academic history, and these are the courses we are recommending to the students. And if you can see the reasons why we are recommending to the every student. Over to you, Max.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Hey, everyone. Max here from End2End. Today, I'm excited to show you our new AI-powered API integration builder called Integrate, a conversational tool that fundamentally transforms how you create API integrations. Traditionally, building integrations requires deep technical knowledge, and now you simply have to have a conversation with LightLeap. Just tell it what you want to accomplish. For example, I can say I want to build an integration that will retrieve course information from Power Campus and create these courses in Banner. From here, LightLeap becomes your integration guide, walking you through each step and asking clarifying questions to understand exactly what you need. So here, we're confirming our goal. And now LightLeap searches across our API libraries to find the right endpoints you need. No more hunting for documentation. So right here, course list and create course with these versions are exactly what we need. So we'll just input that and we'll confirm it, saying it looks good. Now, LightLeap defines our inputs like query parameters, request bodies. I'll just say I don't want the request body for now. And here we can confirm exactly what we've changed. Now it analyzes the endpoints and gives us a flow that best matches our integration that we want to build. So looking through this, it looks like flow 1 is the best choice for us. And now it analyzes these and gives us our configurations like looping, conditional executions, and mappings. We'll say it looks good for now. Here it shows us a sample response of the integration and asks us if we want to build transformations on top of this like jolts or XSLTs. I'll say I don't want it for now. And here we can see it shows us a summary of the integration that we just built. We see the version, the name, the path, the inputs, the flows, data mappings, things like that. At the bottom here, we can see a summary of the integration that we just built. And if we're happy, we can just say, yes, we want to save this integration to integrate. From here, it deploys it directly to Illuminate, our flagship integration platform, ready to use. What used to take hours of technical work now happens in minutes through conversation. It's integration made simple, giving you the power without the complexity. Back to you guys.
And partner for all of us, and I'd love to share his thoughts with us today.
Hey, Rod, before
Yes,
you
sir.
click play on it, sorry, just wanted to do one last check-in. I know we're about, we might be a little bit over 1 o'clock. I hope you guys can stay on. So just so you know, in the next 10 minutes, we will tabulate the results of people that have won the raffle. So just so you all know, like to be eligible for the raffle, we are obviously going to, we're going to remove end-to-end team for sure. We're obviously going to the only people that have signed up with a .edu email are going to be eligible for the raffle. So Rohan is in process of tabulating it. But we also have whoever submits the form, we have opened up, as we mentioned in our MailChimp or mailers, we were originally planning to give out one lucky winner a trip to Europe, up to $3,000 in award. But with the number of people that joined, it was overwhelming and exciting. So we're going to expand it to 2 people. The first person will be completely lucky draw. The second person to be eligible, you have to submit the form that is on the chat that Rohan has posted. If you don't have access to that, it's a simple form that will allow you to rate which outcome-based agent is your favorite agent, which speaker you like the most, other than me, of course. No, I'm not even in the poll. Sorry, I'm being silly. We just want to hear from you, and people who submitted their responses to the form will be eligible for the second drawing. So the first drawing will be only for people who have signed up as of this morning with a .edu email. They'll all be put into one raffle. Second will be for people who have responded to the form with a .edu email, unfortunately, will be eligible as well. So back to you, Rod.
Thank you, Kiran. And now, take 2 on the lovely David Barnett and his experience thus far.
In pre-AI days, we did a lot of messaging around guided pathways, put stuff out on our website. But the primary way of students interacting with this was going to a counselor, right? But the problem is that we just simply don't have enough counselors for the number of students that we have. And students might wait weeks during peak periods to get access to a counselor. And so it was really kind of self-service through published materials, or go to a counselor to get that kind of one-on-one guidance that specifically takes into account where you're at and where you want to go, right? And so the idea with this guided pathways AI wasn't to replace the counselors, because the counselors provide many valuable things, and they provide valuable things beyond telling you what course to take next. But it was try to get away that students could self-service into some of this information and get accurate advice that helps them stay on path, helps them not take courses that won't count towards their degree, and get them graduating sooner. When we went down this guided pathways approach, the goal is to help students, to help counselors, to help advance students' careers quicker. It's easy to throw this tool at the classes they were registered at, and there was this correlation that fraudsters were taking really poor combinations of courses. And so this tool we built to try to figure out, hey, how on track are you, and how do we get you better on track with what your goal is, ended up having this kind of unintended benefit in terms of looking at fraudsters and assessing the courses they chose to take. And those people that were really far off had this correlation to also being fraudsters, right? And so it's that sort of stuff where you go down this path for one reason, and it was a noble reason, but then you find these other use cases for it that also help, with students as well. When we implemented our fraud model, it was a lot of work. We had 2 people who were darn near full-time implementing that model and applying that model. And it did amazing results, and that's amazing. I don't regret having done that. But that said, maintaining that going forward is a lot of work. And so our partnership with End-to-End and LightLeap has been amazing in terms of operationalizing that and freeing up some of our folks' time to go out and explore new areas and new applications of AI in terms of how we can get better, and really just operationalizing, what we've done with fraud, as well as taking advantage of their other models, right? We don't have a model that looks at the FAFSA data or the application data. And so now we have not only the coverage of the model that we built, but we have coverage in additional ways as well. And so that's peace of mind for our folks and less maintenance in terms of doing that. And in terms of the guided pathways, we have a similar story, right? We put a lot of work into creating the foundation of the model, but we were really struggling with, okay, how do we roll this out to counselors? How do we get a UI? How do we address some of the business problems around, okay, we always want to recommend math courses or English courses in the first semester. And End-to-End and LightLeap have been really amazing partners in terms of coming to the table, helping build that UI, and helping turn this proof of concept into a reality and something that we can use at our institution.
Kiran, I want to hand it over to you, sir, as I think we've had quite a conversation today collectively among so many people across the country. And I know you have some reveals that you want to put out there. And I just want to thank everybody as we're wrapping up. Thank you for your time, your attention, and commitment to providing a better opportunity for students all across our country. Kiran?
Great. Well, first of all, Rod, thank you so much for leading the way, if you will, and being our MC. I've been extremely excited to see not only you speaking, but also all the customers. It's just honor to just hear leaders like Marina, Rupa, Jory, Clint, and David and others, and especially Laura Ipsen talk as well. I'm never a shortage for words, but when I hear customers talking about how AI is truly helping incarcerated learners, think about a technology that is, all about internet, all about GPUs and TPUs and CPUs helping offline learning, and it's just unbelievable the type of stories we are seeing, and I can't stop thinking about how it makes me feel good about how we are on the right track. And you mentioned, if nothing else, I want all the attendees to take one term and research on it, which is called outcome-based agents. Because there's a lot of discussion about, AI will do this to me, AI will do this to my family, AI will do this to my classrooms. I think all of those are, truly some things to be worried about. But I think if we truly think about like all the leaders we heard today, is what do you want AI to do for you? Well, do you want AI to help you integrate your assets together, like Laura was talking about? Do you want AI to help you eliminate fraud on your campus, whether it's financial fraud or admissions fraud or employee fraud? Or if you want AI to help you standardize or radically improve your case management system so that students can get the help they need as quickly as they need. Or do you want AI to help you read offline documents and help you read whether it's transcripts or applications or assignments and free up the space for your advisors from doing all this stuff? It's really up to you. And that's the takeaway I have for each of you as you think about like, what do you want AI to do for me? Instead of, yes, we should be worried about what will AI do to you, but I think, it's like saying, what will happen if rain falls? Like rain is going to fall whether we like it or not. And I think that's how I see AI or mobile or technologies are. But can I use this rainfall to grow plants? Can I use this rainfall to do some other actionable outcome that I want to achieve? And I think that's where we want to be partners with you, and that's the idea that we want to talk about. However, like we do have some more important matters to do. So we promised at least some of you a trip to Paris, Europe, or Paris, Venice, or Rome. So Rohan is actively working on tabulating those results. We have the form up. If we have, it'll be up for one more minute. We have received about 31 responses. We'll keep it open for one more minute before we close that form to tabulate those results. While we're doing that, and I know Rod, we have three other testimonials. We can roll them while Rohan can start tabulating the results.
That sounds good. Rohan, we'll go ahead and if you don't mind starting off with, I believe Wayne is first.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dingjo Curry, Executive Director of the Leadership Institute for Tomorrow and the Community College think tank and Strategic Solutions. We're excited to partner with End-to-End LightLeap for an extraordinary national CEO think tank on February 24th, 2026 at the Roxy in Atlanta, Georgia. This isn't another conference or workshop. It's a creative, high-impact space where presidents and chancellors come together to generate bold ideas and catalytic solutions for the future. Our theme is the data and technology imperative, finance, integrity, and integration. three challenges every CEO faces. How can we leverage data wisely, integrate systems seamlessly, and ensure that financial strategies are there, sustainable, and transparent? At the CEO think tank, we'll tap into our collective intelligence to confront real challenges and design innovative ideas and pathways forward for our colleges and students. If you're not a president or chancellor, please share this with your CEOs or let us know so we can invite them. I truly believe this think tank will open new possibilities and help institutions meet the future in a whole new way. Don't be left out. Special thanks to End-to-End LightLeap and Kiran Kodithala for your partnership and vision. Thank you.
Greetings from Yavapai College in beautiful North Central Arizona. My name is Patrick Burns, and I've had the privilege of being the CIO here for over 18 years. Over the past year, we partnered with end-to-end services on several projects, including integrating the LightLeapAI platform into our Ellucian banner environment. We enjoyed working with their team and how flexible they have been during the projects. We are currently implementing Banner SaaS, and we're excited to learn that LightLeapAI was selected to partner with Ellucian for built-in fraud protection in their admissions-related products. As part of our modernization efforts, we are transitioning to the Ellucian Apply platform. We collaborated with LightLeapAI and the Ellucian Apply team to assist in testing of the new functionality. We were very pleased by how fast everything came together, and we're going into production soon. Great teamwork all around. Yavapai College looks forward to continuing its collaboration with our partners at End-to-End Services, LightLeapAI, and Ellucian. Thanks.
And Rohan, if you want to put the last slide up, that'll be good, so that we can, as we finish our presentation here. First of all, I think, we're super grateful for all the time that each of you has spent listening. We are super grateful for all the speakers that some of them have pre-recorded videos, some of them have spent their 2 hours and more on attending this. And also, most importantly, my team that has spent countless hours preparing presentation, preparing demos, learning how to speak better. And I think it's, we all want to be the best, but we all have to start from somewhere, right? Ultimately, that's what, for all the bad things that talk about AI, one of the cool things I like about AI is the focus is back on learning. The focus is back on deep learning. The focus is back on neural learning. The focus is back on machine learning. And the idea here is we're all born with no intelligence, no articulation skills, no communication skills, no computational skills, and we learn this incrementally. And if we properly use AI, our learning can truly become great for each and every one of us, and also for all our customers and dependents as well. So as we leave this conference, I want each of you to think about what transformational outcomes would you want to lead with AI? And you don't even have to use LightLeap AI for that. Like, you can choose to say, I want AI to do this for my students. I want AI to do this for my faculty. I want AI to do this for my chancellor, or my kids, or your partner, if you will. Whatever it is, I think if we can make that happen, and if you feel like if there is any outcome that we can help you achieve, we will be more than honored to make that happen. But we don't have to. We feel grateful that you're spending this time for us. But if you want to know more about LightLeap AI, a lot of you have asked some questions on how to purchase it, where to purchase it, how do I know more information. You can just go to lightleapai.com, and you can see, where all the information about how you can purchase us from AWS Marketplace or College-Based Contract and others. And obviously, we'll reach out to each of you individually as well. Thank you so much for your time. I'm extremely grateful for all your time. And all of you because you stayed on for this conference and signed up for this conference, you all get up to $500 credit for our LightLeap AI in-person event that's coming up in February. Rohan and I will reach out to you personally to explain that in-person event and what it means to you. If you enjoyed this 2 hours, our in-person event will be LightLeap years ahead than this. We will have the governor of Georgia and all the speakers you heard on this call, but also many others featured in February. Thank you so much for your time. Truly grateful for all the time you spent with us. And let's go LightLeap Higher Education. Back to you, Rod.
Oh, I'm just going to say thank everybody for their time and attention. I know we went on a little bit long, so we do honor your time and appreciate your participation, and we look forward to seeing you the third week of February in Atlanta. Thank you, Kiran.
And congratulations, Sonia, Rupa, and Laura. Thank you. Bye, everyone.